like to reiterate that it was Prophet Ezekiel who saw the vision of rainbow while the children of Israel were in captivity. And I thought through that on October the 1st. But it was the same prophet God used to ignite the reset button in Israel in Ezekiel 36. And then to repair the breach of secession that had already taken place between the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. And all these were revealed to him again in visions, and he was asked to prophesy. Give me Ezekiel. Nigeria's first indigenous governor general, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, uttered the following words. He said, and I quote, "Let us heal the breaches of the past, so that in forging our nation, there shall emerge on this continent a hate-free, fear-free, and greed-free people who shall be in the vanguard of a world task force whose assignment is not only to revive the stature of man in Africa, but to restore the dignity of man in the world." Needless to say, the lofty dreams of our founding fathers that should have propelled us to attain great, lofty heights are still dreams 59 years on. Yet, with every independence anniversary comes a renewed opportunity to evaluate our nationhood and insist that a dream deferred is not a dream denied. Despite our past and current realities, the fact that we have remained one nation is a testimony to our God-given resilience, and if properly channeled, it's also a pointer to a future brimming with great possibilities. I believe this gift of resilient hope is worth thanking God for. Therefore, fellow Nigerians, no matter how despondent you may feel today about the state of our nation, permit me to begin this address by wishing you a happy, belated independence anniversary. On this occasion, I salute the memory of our founding fathers who began this long and arduous journey into nationhood. I salute our heroes past, who over the decades kept the torch aflame, and whose labors, I am certain, shall never be in vain. Amen. As we embark on an evaluation of the state of our nation through the instrumentality of a national security audit, I salute the members of the Nigerian Armed Forces and the security agencies who have constantly put their lives on the line in the interest of our national security, even in the most precarious of circumstances. I particularly honor the memories of Inspector Mark Ebiele, Sergeant Osman Danzumi, and Sergeant Dahiru Musa, the dutiful police officers who lost their lives to the bullets of army officers this past August. My sincere condolences to their families. May their ultimate sacrifice not be in vain. Can I hear amen? Amen. Let me also congratulate the President, President Muhammadu Buhari, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, the recently constituted ministerial team, as well as members and principal officers of the National Assembly, as the second term of this administration unfolds. We trust God for all the wisdom and skills required for them to steer the ship of the nation aright at this critical juncture. Can I hear amen? Amen. Permit me to also seize this opportunity to bless God and to congratulate the nation for the phenomenal growth in revenue reported by the Nigerian Customs Services since the closure of our borders. We recall that on January 1, 2019, we declared the word of God to us on this platform that Nigeria will experience significant revenue growth through the Nigerian Customs Service in the year 2019. This past week, the Controller General of the Nigerian Customs Service, Amin Ali, said there was a day in September that we collected 9.2 billion in one day. It has never happened before. This is after the closure of the border, and since then we have maintained an average of about 4.7 billion to 5.8 billion on a daily basis, which is far more than we used to collect. Let's bless the name of the Lord for fulfilling prophecy. He sent His word and He fulfilled the word. We see this as a sign that every word of God concerning the greatness of our nation, Nigeria, will be fulfilled. And as the clock has started ticking towards another 4 years of democracy, as politicians begin to make deft moves ahead of 2023, this address is a call to forsake the myopia of personal and sectional interests, to revisit our foundations, and to begin to reset our nation on the path of predictable progress, beginning with the sector that is most crucial to our national survival and stability, the security sector. Of xenophobia and the call to nation. The stability of our nation is inextricably woven with the stability of the African continent. Therefore, I will set the tone of this address with a brief comment on the xenophobic intolerance that has recently defined the relationship between Nigeria and South Africa. Permit me at this juncture to ask for a standing ovation for a true Nigerian, the chairman CEO of AirPeace, Chief Allen Onyema, as well as the staff. Oh, I can hear the platform. Stand to your feet, my friend. Thank you. You may be seated. As well as the staff of that exemplary Nigerian company whose voluntary decision to evacuate stranded Nigerians from South Africa free of charge as he deemed the honor of our nation. Where some Nigerians have represented us by their deeds, this modern Nigerian has shown that to be a Nigerian is to be a person of dignity. Somebody praise the Lord. The outbreak of xenophobia in South Africa is a wake-up call to Nigeria. It challenges us to put an end to homegrown xenophobia and to unite as one people so we can overcome common challenges and provide leadership to Africa. In this connection, President Muhammadu Buhari's recent visit to South Africa is commendable. As the process of mending relations commences, a measured but decisive response to the provocative incidents is a wise approach. The signing of 32 bilateral agreements in various sectors and the uptick in the enthusiasm of the private sector is a masterstroke win-win outcome. Let's put our hands together for the He said, and I quote, "The world will not respect Africa until Nigeria earns that respect. The black people of the world need Nigeria to be great as a source of pride and confidence. Building that stable, secure, and prosperous Nigeria that will earn Africa the respect of the world is the purpose of this address." Now let me give you the context and the content of a national security audit. On July 12, 2019, our nation reeled from the news of the gruesome murder of Mrs. Funke Olakuni, daughter of elder statesman Bakare'S Fashion. This painful loss was one too many. In view of the palpable anger and the threat of clinically, ethnically motivated responses generated by the incident, it became clear to me that drastic steps needed to be taken in respect of our national security. My conviction was further buttressed when the nation woke up to the tragic incident earlier referenced of soldiers murdering some of our finest intelligence officers and setting free an alleged kidnap kingpin who had been arrested by this early squad of dedicated policemen. This alarming interagency disaster, coupled with disturbing developments, such as reports of mass graves of soldiers, and the seemingly relentless reports of killings, kidnappings, and banditry, has made it abundantly apparent that our nation is dancing on the razor's edge. Reacting to the situation, Nigerian journalist Simon Kolawole, in an editorial titled More Questions Than Answers, noted the current crime situation in Nigeria is a massive indictment on the capacity, capability, and credibility of the security agencies. A shake-up is non-negotiable. Buhari must be willing to do the needful and not to make just cosmetic changes to stop the hemorrhage. Against this backdrop, as part of an extensive security audit, will assess Nigeria's vulnerabilities and threat profile, rethink the prevailing philosophy of national security in Nigeria, examine the challenges to national security, and then, as a propositional platform, profile solutions deploying a combination of vertical and horizontal intelligence. Let's begin by assessing vulnerabilities, Nigeria's security threat profile. Nigeria is today confronted with several intersecting categories of national security threats based on the motivations and power blocks propelling such threats. These threats to national security manifest in about 7 different dimensions: political, economic, ideological, ethnic, zonal, state, and strategic dimensions. Let me start with politically motivated threats. Number 1. The politically motivated threats to our national security are encapsulated in the simple question, who killed? You have seen it over and over again in the different headlines of our newspapers. Who killed Delegua? We are yet to find the answer. Who killed M.K. Abiola? Who killed Funshaw Williams? Who killed Bola Ige? Who killed Dick Odina? Who killed Marshal Hari? Who killed Obi Wale? Who really killed Murtala Muhammad? Nagging questions that we have not found answers to. The security and stability of our nation are hinged on eliminating the greed and that fan the flames of these political assassinations. Not only do the purveyors of politically motivated violence pose a threat to the democratic process, after elections, like in Borno State, their dogs become a menacing scourge of armed bandits who take to robbery, kidnapping, cultism, and other criminal vices for self-maintenance until the next elections. We cannot build a stable and secure nation until our politics is rescued from the greed of murderers and placed in the custody of patriots. Economically motivated threats. In January 2012, when Save Nigeria Group mobilized a critical mass of Nigerians to Freedom Park, or Jota, who are not simply asking for a reversal of the fuel price hike that threatened the daily bread of the so-called average Nigerian, who are fighting organized crime syndicates, who are hijacked our collective patrimony in the name of fuel subsidies. Our galvanizing slogan then was, kill corruption, not Nigerians. The economic threat to our national security are individual and corporate syndicates who loot our common patrimony, bastardize our national image, and submerge our nation's credit rating in the cesspool of local and international criminal enterprise. To address these threats, we need to revive our economy as a matter of urgency that no Nigerian will have an excuse to resort to crime. Ideologically motivated threats. Number 3. Boko Haram, which derives its fuel from an extremist interpretation of Islam, falls in this category. The perpetrators of such national security threats tend to deploy terrorism and insurgency as a strategy. Since 2009, over 30,000 people have died in the course of the war on terror. Winning this war is a national priority that has become synonymous with our quest for peace and stability. Number 4, ethnic nationalistic threats. Due to the failure to unite as one nation, the fabric of our nationhood is being frayed by different ethnic groups threatening to go their separate ways. Groups such as Movement for the Emancipation of the Niger Delta, MEN, the Bakare'S boys, the Bakare'S boys, a faction of Odua People's Congress, OPC, Movement for the Actualization of the Sovereign State of Biafra, MASO, and most recently, the Independent People of Biafra, IPOB, fall under this category. Number 5, zonal security threats. Several of our national security threats are zonally delineated. For instance, the epicenter of Boko Haram is in the northeast, while cattle rustling-related banditry is based in the northwest. The farmer-herder conflict has its base in the north-central. Kidnapping first became an industry in the south-south and the southeast, and so on. Our border challenges are also different across the zones. In the northeast, for instance, the Mandara Mountains allow Boko Haram to traverse Nigeria and Cameroon. In the northwest, the flatland borders with Niger Republic make it easy for bandits to crisscross Nigeria and Niger. In the southwest, smugglers from the Republic of Benin pose a unique set of border challenges, while the southern coastlines grapple with piracy in the Gulf of Guinea. We celebrate the fact that Nigerian customs and immigration services have taken steps to improve border security by closing the borders. However, we must go further to permanently resolve the loopholes in border management, because no nation can leave its borders closed indefinitely in a globalized world. Number 6, state-engineered security threats. My assertion that the Nigerian state has been a threat to its own national security might sound strange. However, when the state actors, such as the armed forces, the police force, and others, become perpetrators of acts of terror, the state scores an own goal and becomes a threat to its own security. According to Nigeria's security tracker, 8,571 civilians were killed extrajudicially by soldiers and security agents between May 2011 and September 2019. Strategic threats. Number 7. The strategic threat to Nigeria's national security involve foreign interests and actors. In 2014, during the administration of President Goodluck Jonathan, one-time Foreign Affairs Minister, Professor Bolaji Akiyemi, raised the alarm over the strategic nature of insecurity in Nigeria. In his view, there are very strong forces external to Nigeria who are actually masterminding these operations. There has been penetration of our security agencies. So we are dealing with forces that are larger than Nigeria. The forces involved, the Nigerian level, who are by far stronger than the Nigerian government. Even if you change your president, his successor will have a major battle in his hand if he decided to confront these evidence. 5 years later, Professor Akiyemi may have been proved right. Some of the internal threats I've mentioned have external collaborators. We know, for instance, from intelligence report that Boko Haram is affiliated with terror groups in Somalia. Furthermore, in order to deal with the international nature of our security threat, we cannot ignore the interests of certain strategic countries, particularly regional hegemons, seeking to consolidate their interests in Nigeria as a result of our strategic importance to the world. Now let's assess the capabilities, the challenges to security management. Our inability to successfully combat these threats and secure our nation has been due to the following 7 major things. Number 1, a faltering national security philosophy. Our national security philosophy reflects the words of King Louis XVI, France's absolute monarch, who once equated the state to himself, stating, "La tête c'est moi," meaning I am the state. Our national security philosophy was crafted in the military era, when the main preoccupation was protecting the head of state and the military junta. This persisting faulty security philosophy is the reason governors can legally access large amounts of monies in the name of security votes that they do not have to account for. It is why the police force, which ought to protect every Nigerian, has been comparatively neglected over the years in terms of funding, equipment, remuneration, and training. It is why security, which ought to be a public good, has now become a private commodity. Nigerians who can afford it make personal arrangements for their security, while poor Nigerians are left to form vigilantes or embark on prayer vigils for angelic protection. Number 2, multi-level preparedness for national security. Due to constitutional constraints, our security strategies are incapacitated at the local, state, and federal levels. The efforts of the Civilian Just Task Force, for instance, CJTF, have shown that Boko Haram could have been curtailed if we had community and state police forces with mastery of the terrain and ability to nip threats in the world. Also, despite the zonally differentiated nature of our security and border challenges, we have excluded the idea of zonal forces from our border management strategies, even as an overstretched federal government continues to grapple with border security. And then number 3, organizational inefficiency. Despite the significant burden of national security on the shoulders of the federal government, we have failed to properly organize federal governance to meet this need. Instead, we have a cacophony of ministries, departments, agencies, and advisory bodies that have failed to place national security as a cornerstone of social, economic, political, strategic, and infrastructural policies, despite the fact that Section 2, subsection 14 of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, states that the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. Number 4, security culture dissonance. A segmentation of our national security culture will reveal at least 4 categories of players. A, antagonists. B, survivors. C, neutrals. And D, protagonists. Everyone listening to me falls under at least one. The antagonists include the sponsors and perpetrators of insecurity, such as double-dealing police officers, hired assassins, and cyber criminals. The survivors include internally displaced persons and victims of kidnapping. The neutrals are bystanders who will be swayed to any side and are readily available as contractors who carry out arms deals for criminals, couriers and vendors who run errands for terrorists, and communities that conceal the hands of criminals and become complicit by their silence, while the protagonists include combatants such as soldiers and the police force, as well as non-combatant such as policymakers and citizens who are prepared to aid the government's efforts. Our security challenge has worsened because the protagonist category is shrinking, and many citizens are becoming bystanders, due in particular to a low level of trust in our security agencies. Number 5, security infrastructure deficit. Time will fail me to talk about Nigeria's core card in military strength, including our stock and deficiencies in land and air-based military equipment. But where soldiers are reportedly forced to buy their own uniforms, and our barracks are nothing but environmental and health hazards, reports of low morale are hardly breaking news. We Besides, it appears that our combined military and intelligence capabilities are no match for the security challenges we currently grapple with. A recent report by the New York Times states that Boko Haram fighters now have more sophisticated drones than the military and are well armed after successful raids on military brigades. Drones in the custody of terrorists is a grave existential threat. Moreover, the absence of robust human and weapons databases has hampered the necessary intelligence that can aid the prevention and detection of crime. Number 6, security architecture dysfunction. National security architecture has to do with security institutions, leadership, training, and strategies. Central to our deficiency in this regard is a comparatively weak intelligence system. Our foreign intelligence service has proved inadequate in meeting our strategic security threats. The National Intelligence Agency, NIA, should be a version of the United States Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, Britain's MI6, or Israel's Mossad. But the NIA came into the limelight in the first term of this administration, not for preventing a national security threat, but for starting for the $3 million in an apartment in Ikoyi, Lagos, allegedly earmarked for their overt and covert operations. Also notable is the Sabo Dasuki saga, in which the Office of the National Security Advisor was linked with a phantom arms deal worth $2 billion. Moreover, the Office of the National Security Advisor may have become overstretched, juggling the coordination of main intelligence agencies with advising the President and overseeing the protection of government officials may have limited the investigative freedom and focus of the intelligence community. On training and deployment of our military, how much longer will we dispatch poorly trained and poorly equipped recruits to their deaths? Are we truly using shelter guns purchased during the 1979-83 Shagari administration in 2019? Are the children of the poor truly being deployed to battlefronts, while the children of the rich are being deployed, are being shielded? Is it the same National Defense Academy that positioned a poor orphan from Daura, Cadet Muhammadu Buhari, and set him on the path to the presidency? These are questions the army must answer to restore public confidence in this noble institution. Number 7, security intra-culture dissonance. By security infrastructure, I mean the dynamics of inter-agency relations. The killing of policemen by soldiers was not just an isolated case of bad eggs in the army colluding with criminals. It was another case of agencies working at cross purposes. Time and again, we have witnessed one inter-agency clash after another. In 2017, the media was awash with a shameful clash between the EFCC and the DSS. The inter-agency clashes may have even been extended to the training of our officers. Should the establishment of separate universities for the Army, Air Force, and Navy be a priority at this time when we have a Nigerian Defense Academy? In any case, the biggest indictment of our security intra-culture failure is not on the rank and file of our military and law enforcement agencies, but the leadership. Allegations of the deliberate spreading of alternative facts, as well as internal wrangling by service chiefs in the race to replace the Chief of Defense Staff or National Security Advisor do not inspire confidence in the 10th year of Boko Haram's onslaught. Now towards an integrated security roadmap, resetting Nigeria on the path of predictable progress. I believe that these challenges of nationhood, manifesting as threats to national security, provide an opportunity to go back to the drawing board and rebuild our nation. It's a call to an integrated national security roadmap as part of a long-term master plan. An integrated national security roadmap brings together diverse objectives of nation building, including the social, political, economic, and strategic objectives, and pivots them on the